You're listening to WGSN-DB, Going Solo Network, Singles Talk Radio channel, where we take a lighthearted and candid approach to discussions on the journey of relationship loss, divorce, parenting, being single, relationships building, dating, and yes, sex. Join our listeners and begin living your best life.
Hi, I'm Cece Schatz, and I want to welcome you to Going Solo Next Step. We are an innovative, transformational site with a personal touch, as we are an online, interactive, social website connecting other like-minded individuals who are adjusting to their new life of being single. Going Solo Next Step will connect and help you deal with issues such as relationship loss, divorce recovery, relationship building, transition into dating, single parenting, spiritual connection, inspirational plus personal growth, sparking your career and understanding your life path, wants, and goals. As you begin relationship building, you will enjoy Going Solo Next Step social activities and forums designed to connect you and other like-minded individuals to make great, everlasting friends. Together, we will all have fun in growing number of social groups and gatherings, both in your location and online. This and so much more is in store for you. You can join me on www.goingsolonextstep.com. I'm looking forward to being with you right there on Going Solo Next Step. See you there.
Hello. All right, we are live, and we also have some great guests on our show today. But before I bring them on, I want to share a little bit about the show, because our show may be new to many of you. But if you were around in 2002 and you used to listen to WBZT here in West Palm Beach on Thursdays at 4 o'clock, then you know who I am, because you used to listen to my show. It was called the Coach Judy Radio Show of Practical Tips back then. And we were on for 5 years, from 2002 to 2007. It was an exciting time. It opened the doors to opportunities and learning what I really enjoy doing besides talking to groups and besides coaching. As a matter of fact, the Coach Judy Radio Show had such guests on as the late Steve Jobs. For those who know the movie, He's Just Not Into You. He was the gentleman who wrote and produced the show, our movie, I should say. He was on our show, and we've had everyday people on our show. As a matter of fact, we've even had an exterminator come on, and she came to my home, and she said, I've never been on radio. I said to her, well, I'll coach you. So it's real simple, because if you make a mistake, guess what? Nobody else knows if you've made a mistake. And that's one of the great things about when you're speaking. Unless you send out a prepared speech, then nobody knows if you're making a mistake. And that's the beauty. I also want to welcome my guests to the show, where they're doing something new for the very first time. I have this new program that is dynamite, and we're able to put on 6 people actually on a show. But today I have the wonderful, smiling, happy-go-lucky, who's always pushing his smiles. I have Eddie Rodriguez, and he will tell you when he comes on a little bit about his book and what he's doing and why he was brought on the show today. And then Beth Cutler, a therapist from Boca Raton, is on. She and I met many years ago. I think she was just in college when I met her, and she was playing volleyball, and I was running the program for the Jewish Community Center here in Boca Raton. So Beth and I go way back, and then we ran into each other. And then I discovered she's a therapist. And as a matter of fact, when I was living in Boca, I even got to use her office to see clients a few times. So Beth, I thank you for that.
No problem.
All right. Well, I want to say we've got 2 people who are watching, and hopefully we will generate more listeners and watchers. And I want to let you know that if you missed the show or you can't listen to the whole show, it will be up on my YouTube page at Coach Judy. I think it might be under Coach Judy Romanoff, but give me about 48 hours to get it loaded, because I have to do some editing and I have to get up there. And this is all new to me. One of the great things that I say is that everything that you do is an opportunity for learning. And the beauty is you never have to stop learning. It's only when you put up those walls that you stop learning and stop engaging in opportunities that can change your life. And that's partly what our show is about. We're about providing you practical knowledge for you to achieve success by getting the facts here on the show and through the various programs I offer. Besides getting the facts, you're going to know where to go to achieve the success. And as a matter of fact, when you're watching, it's right on my page here where the camera is, so you can see what it's about. Practical knowledge for getting the facts to act and achieve success. You're never too old. You're never too young for learning. And we're here to help you achieve your goals personally and professionally. As I will eventually be bringing doctors on. I'll be bringing lawyers on. I will be bringing all types of people on. And I hope to bring on some of the national celebrities back to the Ask Coach Judy show. So you're in for a real treat today because of the fact that so many people are having to stay in because of the coronavirus. Some take it seriously. Some do not. Some states are doing very little, and some are doing a lot. Well, I hope wherever you're listening that your state is doing everything they can to protect you from getting sick, and that you are adhering to the protocols of staying in and not getting around people. And if you have to go to the store, that you stay the 6 feet away. As a matter of fact, I understand they're now saying that you ought to wear a mask when you go out because of the fact that it can spread by people who appear healthy, and you could be standing near them, or they could cough, the drops could go a distance, and then you're in trouble. So it's up to you as an individual as whether or not you want to wear a mask. And I say, in my opinion, wear a mask. I don't think you can be overly protected in a pandemic that's going on because there's still a lot for everybody to learn. So I'd like to move on, and I'd like to introduce Eddie Rodriguez. He has written a book. I met Eddie at a networking event in Boca Raton many years ago, and we have stayed in touch. I've kept him on my profile, and I see what he's doing. And he posted something on his page, of course, was with my page as well, about masks. And he said on his post, he says, I've got masks. I'm not in a position like so many people today just to give them away. But if you need one, we'll work out the price so you can have your mask and not have to worry. And I thought, that's somebody who's giving. It says he cares. He's doing what he can. And that's what's most important, is that any of us, all of us, of what we're doing here, even here on the show, we are going to give you great, valuable information and introduce you to dynamic people who are giving back in the way they know how. So Eddie Rodriguez, I'd like to welcome you to the show. And please tell our listeners what made you put a post up and get about the masks.
Hi, Judy. How you doing today? Love being on your show. I am so honored. Thank you.
Well, thank you. I feel honored having you. I know you've done a lot. You've had your challenges, and you just keep going no matter what. And that speaks volumes for who you are.
Well, the thing is that the reason that I put up the post is because I found a place that I could find masks and I could find gloves. And I know that everybody needs them. Am I in a position to buy everybody else masks and gloves? No, I'm not. But I am in a position to get them for the cost that I get them. I mean, it doesn't cost me anything but gas to go pick these things up and then maybe deliver them to somebody. But the way that I worked this out was they stayed in their house and they left me the money that it costs for the mask or the gloves outside. And so I would take the money and I would leave them there and I would go on my merry way. And it was my contribution to what I could do right now. We can keep that social distancing and still do things for each other.
That is so true. And I think people forget. I mean, as a matter of fact, I saw a post on my Facebook page where somebody made masks at home, but it wasn't for the doctors, but it for all of us who want to, wear a mask. She went ahead. She had the time. She's not well. And she went ahead and made the mask. And I know somebody else who's a neighbor of mine. She was even looking to see how can she do something and making masks for the doctors. But I'm hoping now that she's heard that she can make it for anybody because you don't have to have it real thick like the doctors do.
Yeah, no. I mean, the thing is that like when I go to Home Depot, I do a little overkill because I have stage 4 colon cancer.
You have what?
Stage 4 colon cancer.
So I got to say something. So you're fighting cancer, and yet you are still getting up and you are giving back.
Well, I've got to correct you just a little bit there.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I'm not fighting cancer.
All right.
I'm dancing with it.
You're what?
I'm going to dance with cancer.
All right.
Cancer and I are dancing together because fighting takes energy that you just, negative energy that you just don't want to put out there. But when you're dancing with it, now that's a different story. You're putting out positive energy, you're using laughter, you're using play, you're using the smile, happiness, joy, all of the positive things that help to build you up and help build your immune system. When you're doing things, like when you're fighting something, that's taking a lot of negative energy and just forcing it out there. But instead, with the cancer, I just dance. And
I want to congratulate you because I can understand. I don't really say too much, but I fight a number of issues, physical issues myself. And it's like when you're doing things that you enjoy and you're giving back and helping, you really do feel the endorphins and the adrenaline kicking in and knocking out the pain. And you're able to feel really good when you're doing something.
Oh, you are. Absolutely. Like yesterday, I was out playing Frisbee. Running around and playing Frisbee and things like that. I've been doing 3-4 mile walks, 8-mile bike rides. I'm doing a lot of the things that they say you can't do when you have a condition like, what I have. And I say, what? I don't have a condition. We all at some point in our lives have cancer. And it's what we do when we do things like this, when we have something that happens in our lives, what do you do with it? Do you call it a condition and then focus in on that? I'm sorry, I don't.
I think it's great. I think it's great. What you really talk about is what I talk about too, and I know Beth will be talking about as well. It's about what's in the mind, how you are programming your mind.
Yes, mindset. Mindset is absolutely critical.
Retraining your brain.
I'm sorry?
All right, go ahead, Beth.
Retraining your brain.
Yes, retraining your brain. And see, the thing is as we're growing up, we're learning one thing, okay, but is it real? Is it what really helps to move us forward? Well, maybe what we should do is unlearn those things that hurt us as we go along in life. Unlearn those and replace them with things that are actually going to move us forward.
I guess your question.
Change our mindset.
I can ask you a question, Eddie, and Beth, you could chime in. How do we get people to see that they're even doing things that are not the best for them and be willing to listen? Because I have a friend myself who I've been actually coaching her as a friend in different issues, and she's a therapist herself. And it's like I can't get her to move to do the things she needs to be the success that she can be. So how do you get people to break or be receptive and be able to move forward? Beth, you can, chime in.
Setting positive goals would be a start.
That would be a very good start. The other part about it is what a lot of times they don't realize is what they're going through themselves. They think it's one thing when it's actually something else. So if people would start going inside of themselves, asking themselves questions, I think mirror work is very, very powerful.
Now, when you do mirror work,
you have to make the goals achievable.
Mm-hmm. Yes, you do.
You have to make them so that you can reach the capacity. And once you reach it, you set another goal.
Yes.
Well, I have to say with what both of you are saying, what I have told people myself, and I did it when I was going to get a divorce, is I actually took a pad and paper and I spent time putting down the pros of the marriage, the cons of the marriage. What is it that I really can't stand? What can I really stand? And how can I try to navigate to make the situation work? And was it changeable based upon the realities of the other person?
Well, you know that if you go 100% of how it's going to end up, and you go to 0%, it usually ends up at 50% that you can handle it.
Yeah.
All right. So what
the best and the worst, and it usually comes out somewhere in the middle.
I got you what you're saying now. So really, and the thing is, it's like trying to be honest with yourself and closing out what everybody else is saying, but really into your heart, into your mind, and what is real that you can see.
When I got divorced from my wife, what I did was I sat down and I asked myself a question. I said, what's wrong with me?
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to know anything about what's going on with her. I want to know what's going on with me. What's this all about to me, and how can I change the things that I would like to change about myself. Rather than trying to do anything different with her, it's my responsibility to take responsibility for me.
Well, and that I'm glad you said that. That is so true, because everybody is blaming the other person, or they're looking to the other person to fulfill them rather than seeing we have to learn how to fulfill ourselves. And then all we are adding is more positive benefits and energy to that relationship.
Yeah. And if you can get somebody to actually take a look at themselves, see what they're all about, and discover the different facets of themselves, it goes a long way to going and helping them to recover whatever it is that they need to recover from them, okay, from their heart. A lot of people go into their minds. I don't use my mind a whole lot. What I do is I go into my heart. I start thinking everything through in my heart. How do I feel about this? How does it look? How does, and then I'll take it up to my mind and I'll blend the two.
So you try it on first.
I'm sorry?
So you try it on first and see how it feels.
I do. I really do. When I did my walk, I wasn't thinking about the things that were going to happen along the walk. As a matter of fact, as I started to walk, and when I planned my walk, my plan was, okay, there's going to be no plan. I'm not going to know where I'm going to eat. I'm not going to know where I'm going to sleep, and I'm not going to know what I'm going to do along the walk. The only thing that I know is my destination is Washington, D.C. But remember, I walked to New York.
All right. So you're using what you knew and applying, and also being open to whatever it is that's going to come into your world in doing that walk. It
was all about what's going to show up for me that day. As a matter of fact, I had a little saying, I wonder who's going to show up today. Because like I said, I didn't know where I was going to eat. I didn't know where I was going to sleep or what I was going to do. The other part about that is I started my walk with $200.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And I was on the road for 277 days. And guess how much I ended up with?
How much?
$200. So
That's
I started
amazing.
with 200. I ended with 200.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And how do you find a place to sleep, find a place to eat, and do all of the things, like when I ate in restaurants, I tipped 20%.
Okay.
Okay. So how am I tipping 20% with $200?
Had to be eaten in small place, low cost places.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I did have to suffer some places that I ate. Like I had to eat at Ruth's Chris.
You had to eat where?
At Ruth's Chris.
Oh, that's quite a place.
I had to suffer and eat there. I had to eat at Joe's Crab Shack. I had
Boy,
to eat
you
at
had really tough places. Tough places.
He's suffering bad.
Oh, and staying in hotels. I had to stay at, I don't know if you know Lowe's Hotels.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
5-star hotels. I had to stay at Lowe's. I had to stay at Marriott's. I had to stay at Hilton's. All of these places, it's like, wow, I really had to suffer out there on the road with only $200.
So what's your message to those who are watching?
My message is that things aren't as bad as what they appear to be. They only are as bad as you make them appear. Because we can take a small pebble and we can turn it into a boulder, a mountain. But when you take that small pebble and you appreciate what you can do with it and how you can grow it in the way that you want it to grow, it's so much more powerful. Like at these times right now, everybody's at home and they don't know what to do. And they're anxious because they can't go anywhere and do anything unless they need to get food and things like that. You can turn these things into games. You can play inside of your house. You can dance, turn on the music, Alexa, play this beautiful song. And all of a sudden you got music piping in and you start dancing to it. You start making it a good time.
I did a YouTube video and did Pilates this morning.
There you go. See, there's so many things you can do. Plus, you can have the cleanest house in the universe right now.
Right.
You can go through and start taking care of all of those things that, one day I'll get to it. Well, that one day is today, isn't it?
My friend is cleaning her second bedroom, which she's put off for 20 years.
Yeah.
So really, this time, as I say, it's really an opportunity to do the things that you hadn't done that you keep putting off. Now's a great time to do it. And also, it's a great time of a thinking time to really maybe reevaluate where you're at and figure out where do you really want to go, because the fact that we know in history, in our lifetime, how things go up and down with the market. So it's like, how can you do what you really want to do?
Yeah. Well, life is, like you said, it's a roller coaster. And as you go
it is.
that roller coaster ride, okay, you have choices. Well, guess what? When you're running down on that roller coaster, are you screaming, "Oh my gosh, what am I going to do?" Or are you going, "Wee, what a fun ride this is going to be"? Because guess what? Pretty soon you're going to be going back up. And
that is true.
That's the beauty of life. You get to learn so much on your roller coaster ride down that it makes it so much better when you reach the top.
Well, that is true. And I want to say, and I want to bring Beth into the conversation, is that one thing I have to say that my father taught me, God, when I was thinking of actually getting a divorce, he used to be somebody I could talk to. And he said to me, he says, Judy, look at it this way. A problem is an opportunity. And I've changed it and says, it's not a problem. It's the challenges, because we all have challenges in life, versus making it a negative. But how can we turn those challenges into learning opportunities and grow from ourselves if we're willing to be open-minded?
Absolutely. I agree 100%.
All right, Beth, I want to bring out, because you're a therapist, you deal with patients that deal with anxiety and may have bipolar issues, and they must be having a difficult time on this. Can you give our listeners, especially if they are or they know people who are dealing with those conditions, how they can better help themselves through this, or how their family could better help them?
Well, the first thing they need to do is they have to have open communication.
What if they don't have that?
They have to be able to talk to their friends or talk to family members about what's going on. The minute you shut yourself off, the minute you are gone.
I can ask you a question, though. A lot of people and families and even friends and things out there, they don't really want to hear it. Even family, they don't want to hear it, or they get turned off, or they've seen so much. It's like they don't want to even discuss it.
So you go talk to a therapist who's willing to listen. And the therapist just sits there, gives her opinion, and listens to their issue. And there's nothing is wrong.
So there's no judgment.
Correct.
All right. And so really that a therapist, because people have such these stereotype ideas about seeing a therapist, is having somebody there that cares, but also understands the dynamics then.
Correct. Have a good friend. Also employ exercise in your life. Have some sort of exercise, whether it's indoors or outdoors. It doesn't make a difference. I did a Pilates workshop inside today, but I go walking with my friend Abby. We go walking it for an hour a day, and that's positive.
That's great.
Yes.
That is great. Now, what about those who are not able to exercise or do things and be really active? How do you help those who are more have to be very careful with their activities?
Read, listen to music, as you said. Play games, do fun things that make you happy.
Puzzles are great.
That's true. I did that myself.
I love the game Jenga.
I can ask you a question, because I was acquainted with somebody last year, and it turned out that this person really was a very depressed person, and everything was, somebody else's fault. And she was like, 75 years old, and it was like I couldn't believe the outburst and then the lying and all of these different issues. How do you help somebody like that, or are they beyond that?
They're never beyond help. What you do is you work through the issues one at a time. You take one issue, you deal with it, you show some success, and then you deal with the second issue, and then you go on to the third and fourth. But if you deal with small issues, you break it into small pieces, they can be solvable. And when you're taking these issues, you take them, You look at the pros, you look at the cons, you look at what it's going to be, probably in the middle. And then you figure out, how can I solve it? What's the best way to solve this problem? Then you move on to the next problem with some of the techniques that you used.
All right, now here's your question. What if somebody says they don't care, they don't want to, they're just so negative, so far to the other way? What can somebody who is not a therapist, what can they say if they have friends? Because I have to be honest, I'm seeing so many seniors who are really angry, they're frustrated, they're trying to survive, and I look at them and I'm like, I wish they could listen and really take some suggestions. So
well, the first thing they need to do is some deep breathing and get themselves centered.
Okay.
Once they're centered, they can listen and listen more clearly. They can decide if their issue is an issue that's going to be a problem for life, or it's just a problem right now. They can take that issue. They're depressed about the coronavirus being horrible and they can't go outside. Okay, well, we all really can't go outside. We can't do anything. So what can we do about it? We can look at the positive side, or we can look at the negative side. Mm-hmm. If we look at the positive side, well, we're all stuck inside together. We can watch TV, we can read, we can play a game, we can play cards, we can do different types of things. The negative side is, what am I going to do? What if this happens? What if that happens? It usually doesn't happen. And when it does, you deal with it.
So what you're saying is when you think of what ifs, that's really something that works against you?
What ifs definitely work against you. What if a hurricane comes tomorrow? Okay, we'll go to Publix and we'll get some water.
Right.
We'll deal with it. We'll hunker down and we'll do what we have to do.
So what you're saying is really give them some suggestions that they can maybe feel that they could actually do in helping them.
The more you feel in control of something, the better off you do.
I agree with you there. Totally.
So if you can go out and do something positive to help yourself, well, then that's something positive you did towards the depression.
Exactly. All right, Eddie, I know you wanted to say something.
Yeah, just real quick. I had a client that had, and she knows, she's okay with me talking about her. I won't mention her name or anything like that.
Right.
Amazing woman, absolutely beautiful woman. But a lot of her family died, and then one time her daughter died. When she was home, she went to sleep. She came back out, and her daughter had passed in her chair. But anyway, wow. When I started coaching her, what I did was I would get her to laugh.
Uh-huh.
And that was the start of my session with her. I would say, okay, we need to laugh together. And she would force the laugh. And as I went along, each time that I would call her, she just automatically start laughing. She was
that's fantastic.
Clothes, got her to start wearing color clothes, got her to start looking inside of herself, seeing the beauty of life. And she actually was never getting along with her peers. And she started doing that.
Well, one of the most positive things, Eddie, is going out into nature. The more you go out into nature when you're not feeling well, you see flowers that are growing, you see plants that are changing their colors of their leaves, and you start looking at life differently.
So you're reminded that there is life out there beyond what you have from Stanford. Because I have to tell you, because what I do is, like, I tell people, they said, how did you get through the things that you were going through? Because sometimes it was extremely difficult. And one would say, as a matter of fact, my mother would say, you're so positive. And it was like, whatever I was going through, it was a matter of, all right, I've got this and this, but what can I find that's positive? Or what can I turn it around and look at it in a positive way? Like, for example, it's like, okay, we're in this pandemic. All right, I have little control over that. But it's like, at least I can think, I'm not stuck in, oh God, I'm stuck in, I can't do anything. But, oh, what can I do being stuck in, and changing that mind thought process when you are living your life?
Yeah.
Well, my client told me that his wife also has cancer. And the way they're dealing with it is they're taking walks in the park. They're going on their treadmill. They're doing things around the house. They're fixing things. They're doing things that they didn't know they could do or even needed to be done.
Absolutely.
So then actually what I'm hearing is that you're not keeping the C word in front of you. You're putting it behind you.
Correct. You're just acting as if.
And find a way to be grateful for the things that you're going through. Like I tell people and they look at me like I'm crazy, but I say, you know what? I'm really grateful to cancer because cancer helped me to cure my diabetes.
How did that help?
Well, what happened is that the way that I was eating was horrendous. I mean, it really was not a good way to eat. And then when I got the cancer and I started looking at the way that I was eating and I started changing my eating habits, everything turned around. I mean, within a 3-week period, my sugar dropped like 100 points.
Wow.
So the change in your eating habits.
Yeah, eating habits
came about because you changed your eating habits. You were able to look at everything differently.
And it's changing that mindset also, along with changing the eating habits. You know, people say positive thinking is great, and it's beautiful, and it's going to get you everywhere. You know, I love positive thinking because I think positively about everything. But here's the thing that I believe. It's not just the positive thinking. It's the positive action that you put behind that thinking. It's the things that you do. Do you live the positive thinking or do you just think it? Well, it goes beyond just thinking it.
You made a good point because the fact is everything we do is an action. And for every action, there's a reaction. And what type of reaction do you want? Right. And it's really helping people understand that we are in control of that, not anybody else. We are in control of our own.
When we feel in control of things, we're able to move forward.
Yes, you're exactly right, Beth.
That is so true. Yeah. I mean, I know that I'm thankful for the experiences that I've been through, although I didn't care for them, but they were really learning experiences. And I think people forget to really look, if they reflect on their past, and think, what did I gain from that? They're going to see actually that experience to some degree is a positive.
Mm-hmm. Well, there has to be a lesson that comes out of your life, or then what was it for?
Exactly. That's a very good point to share with people. They really do need to realize. But again, there's some people that are just so negative, there's nothing you can do. I mean, I know some, I've dealt with them. As long
as they don't turn to alcohol or substance abuse, they're okay.
Well, that's true. I agree with you there. I know somebody who did at some point turn to the drinking, and it was interesting because when I spoke with her and she's kind of reacted so strongly, I thought later on, I said, her behavior is changing. I wonder if she's gotten back to doing the drinking.
Yeah. Well, that happens to a lot of people. And, you know, when you're going through traumatic things, you turn back to those things that can be a crutch. Okay. I got to say, you know, that they say once an alcoholic, always an alcoholic. I don't believe that. Once a drug addict, always a drug addict. I don't believe that either. I believe that you can truly make shifts in your life to not become them. And I've proved it in my own life because I was at one time an alcoholic. I was at one time a drug addict. And the thing is that with mirror work, I was able to stop drugs, and it was instantaneous.
So what you're saying is that you found the trigger that led you to want to drink and to do drugs then.
Well, I made a big enough why I wanted to stop, okay, so that I was able to just stop cold turkey and not do drugs again. I did go back one time 2 weeks later, and then I wound up on a friend of mine's porch crying my eyes out saying, I can't believe I did that to myself. And that was the last time.
While you're doing the mirror work, it's also important that you journal.
What's that? Oh, journaling is great.
Journaling is very important. I don't care whether you do it on your phone as a tape recorder or you write it down or you talk to somebody. It's just important that you go back when 6 months later, you can go back and say, wow, I was going through that. I tell just about all my clients to journal of some manner.
Yeah.
I think that's a great point.
Beautiful, Beth.
But that's a great point because at least gives them something that they're doing action versus just doing nothing. And action is the key, I think, getting somewhere.
But it also gives them a perspective of where they were to where they are and see how much growth has taken place.
Yeah.
That's true. That's a very good point.
Yeah. And I'm funny, just for the people out there that journaling won't work for, there are other things that you can do. Like I'm a person that journaling does not work for me because for some reason, I have a block about writing things down, about speaking in a tape or things like that. But what you can do is reflect over your life. And that's the way that I do it. I look back on my life and see the beauty of the things that I've done. And also I look at the things that were not so beautiful and say.
A young lady yesterday told me that
What's that?
A young lady told me that they're transitioning into doing school at home.
Yes.
Which she had to make a change between going to the actual classroom and doing the work on her own. And we talked about time management. And we talked about how to take breaks and not stress yourself to the point of exhaustion.
Right.
Well, that's a good point. And that's with anything is that if you don't recognize the signs that says your body is tiring and you ignore it, you're going to get into so much trouble. And Beth, I'm glad you brought up about this going, online for school. A lot of single parents out there, because I talked to two in one day, and one actually happened to be my daughter, and she's got two girls, they're twins. They're going to middle school. And she said to me, she says, she's got to deal with 12 teachers in essence.
Absolutely.
What?
Yeah.
Absolutely. You have to deal with the teachers and the parents and the kids.
I mean, it's like unbelievable. It's like, it's like I work at home. Thank God she's able to work at home most of the time. But then it's like I've got to now all of a sudden learn how to be a teacher and try to understand. And what I also learned, which surprised me, is I thought when they were going to do the homeschool for these kids, there was actually videos that they can watch, which helps to engage them. I was surprised. Basically, it's going online. It's getting the link and the link taking you to where you need to do. But there's no videos. It's just
a lot of children are using things like Microsoft, Google Office, Google Classroom.
Right.
They all have different venues for you to go to.
Yeah.
Right.
Zoom.
My girlfriend. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Beth.
Zoom works. And also there are like so many websites out there that my clients use for their learning. If they don't understand the algebra, they can get onto a website which can teach them the algebra that they need.
I was saying because I know it's like my daughter was like, she doesn't. I don't think she knows a lot about algebra. I'm not sure if she remembers, but it was like, how do you keep up? Because as she said, 12 teachers, because every teacher has their own directions, and we've got two kids, and they're in different classes. Then you're dealing with so many things. And it's
one of the things we've been doing, Judy, is anxiety solutions. We've been teaching the children and the parents how to study and how to make it less stressful for both the parent and the student.
Well, can you give some practical tips that we can share so people can go back and watch our show as to what they can do to reduce the stress and make it workable?
First of all, they have to find a quiet place to do the work. They can't have their cell phones. They can't have the TV on. They have to have it absolutely quiet.
All right.
And then some children have told me that they like their headphones with music on. I don't encourage it, but if it helps them concentrate, then fine.
All right.
People learn different ways.
Well,
the thing is also is that the teachers are going through a lot of struggles right now, learning a new way to teach the kids. Online.
Well, the teachers are learning how to do homeschooling. They're learning how to do the video schooling, which they didn't have to do prior to this.
Well, what I'm saying is that, but the interesting thing here in Palm Beach County, and I don't know if it's per school or what, there are no videos. It's just literally reading the link that takes you to the work, and that's it. There are no videos.
There are videos. There are videos depending on
there are definite videos.
My girlfriend is a teacher.
Oh, okay.
She's collaborating with 6 different people to create the teachings that they teach to their kids. And they do come up with videos. Okay. There's not a ton of them out there, but there are videos, and there's things that, their interaction, they can talk to the teachers, they can send notes, and they can send text, and there's a lot of different ways for them to communicate and to learn things. It just depends on where you're getting your learning and how the teachers are working together.
All right, so you're saying that these, we're in Palm Beach County, that the school teachers are online, that they can reach out to, because I know in talking with my daughter, they were really on their own, and I said to her I couldn't believe they didn't have videos or something, because she was just struggling this first week. And I talked to another single parent. It was the same thing. They were up till 9 o'clock at night trying to get all the schoolwork done for that day.
Right, and the same thing with the things that the students are going through, the teachers are going through as well, because they're trying to put these programs that are interactive with the kids.
Right.
I know my girlfriend.
I've also had children tell me that Calm Academy.
What is it?
Calm Academy.
All right. What is that?
It's videos. It's a teacher that gets on the video and teaches the student, for example, algebra. They do a lesson in algebra.
Yeah.
And then they can take it back to their work and they can use it.
Okay,
yeah.
Beth, can you
have
do me a favor?
interactive homerooms.
Okay, Beth, since you've got that, can you send me the information and the link so that I could even post it on our Facebook pages?
Yes, a child told me yesterday they also use, with Calm Academy, they also use the Google Classroom as ideas for game to use.
They all have all the students on at one time with the teacher. And the teacher's talking to the students, they're saying hello to each other, they're, talking, they're also teaching, and it's, video of all the kids. It's difficult because there's so many kids.
Right.
But they are having interactive action on the computer with the kids. And they're doing
that's great to hear. What I'm saying is, how do you find out? Because the other thing that I saw is like, why aren't the teachers teaching their class through Zoom, and the kids go in at their class at that time and go through the day instead of the teacher, right in front of them? The teacher is doing it at Zoom, and the students right there, and then they have the next teacher, and so on.
One child told me that she's frustrated with the homeschooling, that she doesn't like it, and other kids have told me that they do like it. So it's like, for some people, the teachers give assignments. And the children just do the assignments. For some people who need a little more hand-holding, they'll go to Khan Academy, and they'll find out how to do it.
Can you spell that for our listeners so they can get the name, exactly what it is?
I'm pretty sure it's KON Academy, ACADEMY.
All right, KON Academy.
Academy, correct.
Is that academy.com or what?
Just type in Google Khan Academy.
Okay.
And they'll be able to get lessons that they do not know. So, for example, if the teacher is giving an assignment that the children don't know, they can go to Khan Academy and learn it.
Oh, okay. So it's all right. So it's like different subjects that they can learn if there's an assignment and they can't do it. It's where they can go to learn how to actually do it then.
Correct. And they told me that it's they learn how to do the material, and then they're able to transfer it to the assignment that the teacher gave them.
Oh, that's very good. I'm glad we're talking about this, because it was like all these parents and the single parents, because they don't have somebody else helping them. It's just them and their kids trying to manage all these things.
All the parents need to do is
let's do it. Let's one at a time.
If the parents go on to Google and look up ways to teach my children, they'll find different ways, because some kids learn tactily through the tactile version. Some kids learn through listening to it, and some kids learn reading. I know I'm an auditory person. I have to hear it.
All right, because I know I'm the same way. I'm auditory and visual to learn it. To sit there and just read, it's like a whole different ballgame. It's like, that's not my way of reading. I mean,
it doesn't work for me.
No, I'm not. It doesn't work for me either.
When I was doing my master's, one thing that the teacher used to say to do was bring a tape recorder, plug in the tape on your way home. That way you heard exactly what I said.
That's great. I know when I used to travel over to Sarasota a lot, I used to buy the educational tapes and actually listen. They're like the motivational tapes and learning and to grow and everything else. It was great.
There's also something which I looked up for my kids. Was there are free SAT manuals and there are free ACT manuals.
Excuse me.
Oh, that's great to hear that.
You just look up free ACT, free SAT, and it gives you tests that you can take for free at home.
That's fantastic to hear, because I'm going to have to let my daughter know, because I just felt so bad for her. And I talked to this other single parent. I just felt so bad that they're just struggling to
well,
do.
Two of my patients right now are getting ready to take the SATs. So they're asking me these questions.
Oh, that's great.
I just went to Google and found it for them.
So that's the key for everybody is you need help. Just go to Google. It'll find it for you.
That's what I've been doing.
Yeah,
I what I do for myself when I'm looking for something. I go to Google and I'll type it in and I'll find it.
There you go. That's a great way to do it, And I know that that the students, the parents, the teachers are all having a hard time because this all just started.
And we're all on the same boat.
It's going to gel. It's going to get so much better for everybody because this is a whole new world.
But we're all in the same boat and we're all learning together.
We're all
learning together. And as you're learning, as you're creating, as you're going out there and starting new things, there's always going to be rough waters. But it's in those rough waters where you find the beauty and you find the gifts that are there to receive. And if one child told me yesterday that she has to put her trombone, her oboe on her lesson on video for the teacher for band class.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that is something. I asked you a question because we're going to be running out of time. Is there any other key points that you want to bring out for those who are stuck at home, of course, as all of us are, and what else they could do to make this time a little bit more beneficial in the long run?
Well, they can read, they can write, they can do all the things that they wanted to do but didn't get a chance to do it.
All right. Ed, do you have anything that you'd like to share?
This is a big opportunity for you to recreate your world, to discover what you really want out of life and to develop yourself into who you really want to be, and to go out and to reach out to other people, not physically, of course, but to reach out to other people that are in the same boat that you are and see how you can help each other, because learning through others, helping others is going to teach you what you need to know.
Well, while we're learning from others, we can learn ourselves of what we can do.
Yes.
And we can help move on that way, because it's going to end. And when this epidemic ends, we're going back to our regular lives.
But I think that we're going to still sometimes have to go back to what we're doing now, depending upon what really happens in the next year or so with the pandemic. But I want to say, first of all, I wanted to thank both of you coming on. I think you have shared such dynamic information to our listeners. Also, let you know that this show is going to a radio network, and it has approximately 200,000 projected listeners.
Awesome.
And what is your book called again?
10 Million Smiles from Florida to New York.
Okay. I have to get it.
You can find it on Amazon. And I can't talk about the book because I wrote it, but I've gotten some really, really good reviews.
That's fantastic. And you said that people can get your book on Amazon.
I wanted to tell you that I'm doing phone counseling and Skype counseling, as well as if they want to come in person.
Well, that's great. Also, I want to let everybody know, so those who are listening and watching, one of the things that we're doing with the show, and I want people to know that all proceeds are directed right to the National Single Parent Resource Center. This show is actually one of the ways we are working to generate revenue in for the organization. I also want to say that those who want to make a difference and they want to be a part of the show, or they want their name out there so people can reach out to them, since the National Single Parent Resource Center and what I do as Coach Judy is providing resources. All our programs for the National Single Parent Resource Center is on the Facebook page, and those who are interested in doing actually live open discussion support programs, that you contact us. I'm going to give you my website, which I forgot to put up here on the front, is www.coachjudy.info, and that is more of a portal website where you can reach and see what we're doing from coaching, and to get to the website for the National Single Parent Resource Center. It's also a place that if you want to contact us, you just fill out a form and let us know what you want as a single parent, what you're looking for, what your needs are, as right here we are building resources just by having our guests on the show. I want you to please let people know about the Ask Coach Judy Variety Show. We've got great information. We have a lot of other shows that are already up on the YouTube channel where this show is going. So again, please spread the word. And I want to thank my guests, welcome them for having come on and coming out and providing great information and resources so that you can achieve the success that you're looking for. But remember, you have to be open and aware. And if you can be that way, you're going to succeed more. And if you got a closed mind, just know you're missing out if you keep your mind closed. And again, thank you so much. And I just want to ask Beth if there's one other tip she'd like to leave with our audience.
Just if you have any problems or you have any thing, just call me. And either we'll fit you into the schedule, or we'll do it on the phone, or we'll do whatever we need to do.
Sounds great. And any last messages? Any last message?
Just believe in yourself. Know that life is good and it's going to bring you exactly what you need in order to be able for you to turn yourself around. And if you're feeling anxious right now, just go out and play.
Thank you.
Outside, do things.
The endorphins are going to work.
And also you can visit me at my website, www.thesmileandwaveproject.com.
That is
1 second, Judy. I also have a website.
Okay.
It's www.successfulunions.com. SUCCESSFULUNIONS.com. Bye.
Bye, everyone.